The actual loss is that we don't have the author here, but I'll do my best, colleagues, to say a few words, and I acknowledge my colleagues, Lindsay Morton and Tsegosesh Limeda, for providing that text to me. So it's my humble task to be the praise poet for Dr. Ayo Adeduntan, who obtained his PhD in Performance Studies in 2009 from the Institute of African Studies, University of Ibadan, where he now teaches. He's published articles in various journals such as Performance Studies Quarterly, African Notes, as well as chapters in various books. With Ohoma Pogoson, he is currently editing a volume with essays entitled Culture and Society in Post-Colonial Nigeria. His current research activities focus on 20th century and 21st century urban performance forms, and which it's all about exploiting indigenous African codes. Now the book is the exciting part, which almost links to our previous author, and I wish she could make a film for us about this book. The book is entitled What the Forest Told Me, Yoruba Hunter, Culture and Narrative Performance. We hear that the studies of Yoruba culture and performance tend to focus mainly on standardized forms of performance, and they tend to ignore the more prevalent performance culture which is central to everyday life. You see, this is where the film aspect can come in. This means that the drama, poetry and narrative embedded in such practices as hawking, preaching and conversation, that it's been previously overlooked, and in response, but this author is going to set it right. He sets it right in the book just to show us, he conveys that elastic nature of African cultural expression through narratives of the Yoruba hunters' exploits. And I'm sure that some of our other people also see what I see as commissioning editor. We should have something else about this, such as a film. So in the past, people said that the hunters' exploits should be cloaked in because of cultural and professional ethic that forbade them to tell their stories at home. But today, such stories are openly shared and have emerged as a popular form of television and radio entertainment. I wish to see that. I'd love to see that. So the Yoruba hunter is actually a primal actor in a cultural production, just like the priest and the masked dancer. More than the priest and the dancer, he detests boundaries and thrives on breaching them. He must be a true artist then. So I'd say he exploits and therefore defies the boundaries and categories, something that the humanities is sometimes very naughty about, in terms of sciences and so on. And if we look at interdisciplinarity, this is maybe a direction to take for sure. So let's say that the hunter narrative in broadcast media, that tells us about the dialectic of tradition and change, in which contemporary practices necessitate a review and a modification of norms. It pushes those boundaries that maybe Sister De Pio can pick up for us and maybe explore in a film. So I would recommend that you all go and buy the book, and that we ask Sister De Pio if we continue this relationship, which we'll certainly do. In our next presentation, there should be a film about this book.